Hey everybody, welcome to This Board Game Life video look into the game Gem Rush. It's a game by Victory Point Games, designed by Jeremy Lennert in 2013. This is a convention exclusive, which just has one extra part, which is an extra start player token, but I'm not going to go into that, guys, since the regular version does not have this. This is a game for 1 to 6 players, 13 and up, and plays in about half hour, 45 minutes or so. So let's take a look, see what this game is all about. Okay, so here are the components of the game. Basically, you have Victory Point tokens in 3 denominations: 10s, 3s, and 1s. And by the way, I do really like these guys. These are the laser cut Victory Point tokens that Victory Point Games has, and they have really nice sharp edges, and they're really nice. I did not wipe these guys down at all. I know a lot of people complain about soot and stuff, but I've never had an issue with these games. You also have a start player token, which is this guy right here. Then there's player tokens over here. Essentially, they're, I guess you could call them standees or whatnot. So you just insert the token into the base and it stands up. It's kind of a loose fit. I was actually thinking about gluing him, but I don't know if I'll ever do that. Then you have 2 sets of cards. There's room cards and gem cards. So let's take a quick look here at gem cards. Gem cards will have a gem or more, so 1 or 2 gems on them, and there's a whole bunch of different gems within the game. You can see them here. There's Star Tears, Soul Stones, Raw Hope, Permafrost, Obsidian, Fire Ruby, and Electrum. There's also Diamond Dust, which is essentially a wild. So the cards will have 1 to 2 gems on them, and when you use them, you can use one or both of the gems. Hopefully it's both, so you're not wasting gems, because any gem that's not used is essentially lost. So here you can see some of the cards over here, and of course there's Diamond Dust, which is the wild. Okay, so that's the gem cards. Then if we go and look at the room cards, here we can use this one over here. So the room cards, I'll zoom in for you. So here's a room card. The room card will have a couple of common things amongst all of them. First of all, they'll have up to 4 different exits. This one over here has 3, left, up and down, or right, or east, west, north, however you want to call it. Then each of these exits will have a certain gem configuration. For example, here's 3 gems, 2 gems, and 4 gems up at the top, and each of them will also have victory points on it, which denotes, if you move in that direction, how many victory points you acquire for doing that. Then each of them has an action ability on it, and this one here is an Obsidian Tunnel. Discard the particular, I believe it's Obsidian, to reveal 5 cards from the gem deck right there, and choose 2 of them to keep. So as you can see, this action over here is a common way to obtain cards. So you're spending cards from your hand to explore into new rooms, and you're using this ability. That's one of the ways to get cards. And let's take a quick look at a turn. So here we have a simple setup of the game. It's a 2-player game. This plays 1 to 6, like I believe I mentioned earlier, and each player gets 4 cards in their hand. Now, normally these wouldn't be visible like this. They're hidden cards, of course, but for this particular example, they're face up on the table. So you start off with 4 cards. Every person gets 1 victory point token, and the start player gets the start player token right there. A room card is placed in the center of the room, and the players' player tokens get placed on that particular room card. And let's see what we want to do over here, just to give you kind of a quick taste of how this game plays. So let's say this person is this guy right here, and you basically look at all of the different exits over there, you have, well, actually, let me explain real quick what your turn, how your turn goes. So you have normally 3 different actions that you take during your turn. So the first thing you do is if you have more than 4 cards in your hand, you discard down to 4. On the first turn, of course, that's not a problem since you start with 4. So in this case, we don't have to do anything. Then the next thing is we can move up to 3 times. So that's up to 3 times. You don't have to move 3 times unless you want to, but you can do 3 or less. So let's say that we want to move in the eastward or right-hand direction over here. So we look at the jewels on here. So this is 2 jewels. One is this guy right here, which I believe is the star tier. And then the other one we don't have. Now diamond dust is a wild, so what I can do is I can discard these 2 cards right here and I can move in the eastward direction. However, this guy right here, the raw hope, is lost. I didn't take advantage of it, and it kind of stinks. Oh well. So what I would do is I would discard these 2 cards in a discard pile and then draw a new card over here. Now, what I can do with these is I can place it in pretty much any orientation that I want. The only stipulation is the direction that I came from has to have a doorway. So I can place it like this. I cannot place it like this, for example. So let's say I place it like this right there, and I move this guy over, and I gain a victory point. So at that point, I basically go through it, and I can move up to 3 times should cards allow. In this particular way, I don't think I can really do that to explore into any new rooms. Then the third step, once I'm done with movement, is I can do one of 2 things. I can either do the ability of the room that I'm in, or I can draw a card from the gem deck. So then if I were to do that, of course, then I would get, hey, look at that, another diamond dust. Or let's say if I wanted to move back into here, then I could discard an obsidian, which I have right here, and then I could reveal 5 cards and keep 2 of them. That seems like it's the better deal to me. So we could do that. That's basically the terms, or how the round goes in the rush mode of the game. So there's 2 different kinds of games that you can play. Rush mode is competitive, where you're playing against other players. So I just completed 1 turn over here, and then my opponent would go and basically do the same series of steps. The first person to reach 20 points here, or reach 20 points, they would then be the winner. Now, the other mode in the game is called crisis mode. In this mode, players essentially work cooperatively, and you're looking to cooperate and reach a common goal of 35, 40, 45, or 50 points, depending on the difficulty that you decide at the beginning of the game. Now, the main difference between that is essentially it's a race between the players and this deck right here, because what happens is that after you do your 3 different phases of your turn, essentially discard down to 4, your movement, and then either draw or do the action in the room, you have a 4th thing now where you burn 2 cards. So you take the 2 topmost cards on the gem deck and you discard them. So you're looking to race against this deck and try to complete all of your points before this guy runs out. If this deck runs out, you're done. Both players lose. If you attain your 35, 40, 45, or 50 points prior to this going out, then you're good. You win. So that's the game. That's pretty much the game right there. It's actually a fun little game. This is something that I recently brought over to Thanksgiving dinner, and it was a big hit with gamers and non-gamers alike. Now, I got to say that there was a lot more non-gamers there than there were gamers, but everybody was intrigued by it because it's got a couple of cool little elements. You know, it's got the card collection and stuff, you know, which everybody's used to in some form or another. You know, you're collecting gems, which is pretty easy for people to understand, and you got the diamond dust, which is wild. Again, easy to understand, and you've got some fairly straightforward things you can do. You know, people kind of understand, you know, I got to pay this, and I get those victory points. And, you know, how do I get cards? You know, I spent my cards to move around from room to room to explore, and, you know, then, you know, I get cards either through my action or by doing the room ability. And the room abilities and stuff like that, that's something that's kind of neat for people, particularly those that aren't gamers, because it's a novel way to you know, to get resources of sorts. So that is Gem Rush, a fun little game by Victory Point, Jeremy Lennert, and thanks for watching, everybody.